Hello and welcome everyone. Myself Jeeva. I am here for the question paper discussion of GATE 2024 Forenoon session. So how was the exam everyone? I hope all of you did well. Altogether it was a moderate level question paper, but definitely there was a good percentage of questions which were very easy from certain subjects. So that was a relief for students. Now I will be dealing with three subjects here: hydrology, irrigation and steel structures. So moving on to hydrology. So a total of 3 questions were asked from hydrology and all 3 of them were numerical answer type questions and which were very direct and simple questions. There was no confusion at all. So let us see what the questions were. So question number 1. So question number 1 was from the frequency analysis portion. The return period of large earthquake for a given reason is 200 years. So return period is given as 200 years. Assuming the earthquake occurrence follows Poisson's distribution, the probability that it will be exceeded at least once in 50 years is the question. So the number of years under consideration is 50 years. And we are asked to find the probability of exceeding at least once, which means we have to find risk in this earthquake design. And we are asked to round off to the nearest integer. So let us see. So to find the risk in design, we have to use the equation 1 minus q raised to n. And we know that q is equal to 1 minus probability. So final expression is 1 minus p the whole raised to n. So let us see how to solve this problem. So return period is given as 200 years. Therefore, probability is equal to 1 by return period, which is equal to 1 by 200. And q is equal to 1 minus p, that is 1 minus 1 by 200. Therefore, risk is equal to 1 minus q raised to n, which is equal to 1 minus p the whole raised to n, where n is the number of years under consideration, which is equal to 50 years. So n is equal to 50 years. So substituting 1 minus 1 by 200 the whole raised to 50, and we get approximately 22.16 percentage. So this would be the answer, and this is a numerical answer type question. So 22.16 or 22.17 percentage, that would be the answer. We are asked to write in percentage, which is round off to the next integer. Moving on to question number 2. So this is a question from groundwater hydrology. So for an unconfined aquifer, it is mentioned that it is an unconfined aquifer of depth 20 meter. That is, capital H is equal to 20 meter. Penetrating well has a diameter of 30 centimeter, which is small d. Small d is given as 30 centimeter. 2 observation wells located at 10 meter, 100 meter distances from the well. That is, the radial distances are given. R1 is equal to 10 meter, R2 is equal to 100 meter distance. From the well have found to be with drawdown of 5 meter and 1 meter respectively. That is, S1 and S2 are given. Coefficient of permeability is given as 10 meter per day. That is, K is given as 10 meter per day. And we are asked to find out the discharge from the well. That is capital Q. Again, this is a numerical answer type question and it is a direct question. Once we know the equation, we can directly substitute all the values because all the values are given. So there is no scope for any confusion. So let us see the equation for the observation wells. So for an unconfined aquifer in the presence of observation well, the discharge is calculated using the equation pi k into h2 square minus h1 square divided by log to the base e r2 by r1. So let us see the diagram and find out the values. So here R1 is given as 10 meter. That is the radial distance of first observation well. R2 is given as 100 meter. And the drawdown of the first well is given as 5 meter. The drawdown of the second well is given as 1 meter. And the total depth of the aquifer is given as 20 meter. Now we have to find H1 and H2. So we know that the total depth minus the height of water inside the well is equal to drawdown. That is, capital H minus small h is usually taken as drawdown. It is very evident from the figure also. Now we are going to find out H1 and H2 based on the drawdown and total depth. So H1 is equal to, total depth is 20 minus 5, which is equal to 15 meter. And H2 is equal to 20 minus 1, which is equal to 19 meter. So now all the values are available with us. We just have to substitute these into the equation. So the equation is Q is equal to pi k into H2 square minus H1 square divided by log to the base E, R2 by R1. So substituting the values, we get pi into k is given as 10 meter per day into H2 square, which is 19 square minus 15 square, whole divided by log to the base E, 100 divided by 10. And we get the answer as approximately 1855.6 meter cube per day. So since K is given in meter per day, we definitely get the answer in meter cube per day. So discharge is approximately 1855.6 meter cube per day. Now moving on to question number 3. So this is a very direct question from the topic hydrographs. So let us see what the question is about. From a given catchment, ordinates of 1 hour UH are given, and we are asked to find out the peak coordinate of 3 hour UH. So it's basically a very direct question, because we are asked to find out a 3 hour UH from a 1 hour UH, and all the ordinates are given, and again this is a numerical answer type question. So let us see the procedure. So we are given 1 hour unit hydrograph. Small t naught is equal to 1 hour. We are asked to find out 3 hour unit hydrograph denoted by capital T naught. So let us derive a relation between the both. Capital T naught is equal to 3 times small t naught. That is, it is a multiple, 3 times the multiple of small t naught. And this 3 means we have to take the sum of 3 unit hydrographs, which should be lagged by the given hour. The given hour is 1 hour and divided by 3. Okay. So to derive the 3 hour unit hydrograph, we have to take the sum of 3 unit hydrograph which are lagged by given 1 hour and divided by 3. So moving on to the solution. So here we can see that time is given in hours. The ordinates of unit hydrographs are also given. We are lagging the particular 1 hour unit hydrograph by 1 hour 2 times, because we need the sum of 3 unit hydrographs. So 1 hour unit hydrograph is already given. I am lagging it by 1 hour for the first time, that is offset 1. Again, we are lagging the same unit hydrograph with 1 hour. So we have 3 unit hydrographs which are lagged by 1 hour. And we are taking the sum of these 3. So when we take the sum of these 3 unit hydrograph, we basically get a 3 hour direct runoff hydrograph, which is DRH, which with a direct runoff of 3 centimeter. So this is the sum of these 3 unit hydrographs, and to obtain the 3 hour unit hydrograph, we have to divide this sum by 3. So I am dividing these values by 3 centimeter so as to obtain the values of 1 centimeter, which is basically unit hydrograph. And I get the peak value as 86.67. That is the answer. So this is the peak value. And so this is our answer. The peak of 3-hour UH is obtained as approximately 86.67 meter cube per second. So I hope the procedure is very clear. We have a 1-hour unit hydrograph. We are lagging it twice by 1 hour and we are taking the sum of 3 unit hydrographs lagged by 1 hour and the sum is divided by 3 so as to obtain 86.67. So this is all about the subject hydrology. Now we are coming on to irrigation. So only one question was asked from irrigation engineering and that was from the topic the design of lined canals. So let us see. So this is the question. So it is mentioned that a standard round bottom triangle canal section as shown has a bed slope of 1 in 200. The slope is given, that is S is equal to 1 in 200. The Chassis coefficient, capital C, is given as 150. The normal depth of flow in meter for carrying a discharge of 20 meter cube per second is the question. So we are asked to find out y. Cross section is given in the figure and the slope is given as 1 by 1.5. So this is about a triangular channel section with a circular bottom. So we have studied the equations regarding a triangular canal section with circular bottom and let us see how to solve this question. So the slope is given as 1 by 1.5. We are asked to find out y. So let us see how to solve this particular question. So first of all, let us find out theta. So tan theta is equal to 1 by 1.5. Therefore, cot theta is equal to 1.5. Okay. And finding out theta. Theta will be the tan inverse of 1 by 1.5. So you get answers approximately 33.69 degree. Now, we all know that to find the area and wetted perimeter of a triangular canal section, the area is given by the equation d square into theta plus cot theta and perimeter is given by 2d into theta plus cot theta. So, from this particular equation, we know that we have d which can be substituted as y, that is the depth of flow, and theta is found out as 33.69, but here we have to substitute it in radians. So in radians, this will be equal to approximately 0.588 radians. Okay, fine. So now let us see the substitutions. We are going to find discharge. So discharge is equal to area into velocity, and velocity can be taken as C root RS according to Chassis equation. And what about R? R is equal to A divided by P. So here d square divided by 2d because theta plus cot theta will be cancelled off. So you get R is equal to d by 2 because area is equal to d square into theta plus cot theta. Perimeter is equal to 2d into theta plus cot theta. So dividing we get the answer as d by 2. So substituting. Now let us find out the value of A first of all. So area is equal to y square into theta plus cot theta. So y can be substituted as such. Theta is 0.588 and cot theta is 1.5. So we get the answer as approximately 2.088 y square. Now let us substitute back to the equation for discharge. Discharge is equal to area into velocity, that is area into C root RS. Substituting area as 2.088 y square into Chassis constant is given as 150 R is given as y by 2 because when we divide the area and wetted perimeter, we get y by 2 into the bed slope is given as 1 by 200. So, discharge is equal to 20 meter cube per second. That is already given in the question. So, solving this, we get y is equal to approximately 1.1 meter. So, this is the solution. So, basically, we need to know the equation for area and wetted perimeter, which we have already studied. So, area is equal to d square into theta plus cot theta and perimeter is 2d into theta plus cot theta. So, a by p will give you d by 2 and you have to substitute the whole in equation for discharge. So, discharge is equal to area into velocity. Hope this is very clear. So, we get the final answer as 1.1 meter, that is the normal depth of flow. Again, this was a numerical type question. Now, moving on to steel structures. Only one question was asked for the forenoon session and it was a multiple select question. Let us see the question. The elements that do not increase the strength of structural steel are. So, we all have studied that the most important element that gives strength to steel is carbon. We all know that carbon is the most important one that gives strength and hardenability to steel. Now, so the answer cannot be carbon because we are asked which of the following elements do not increase the strength. Carbon definitely increases the strength and manganese also to a certain extent increases the strength, but definitely it affects certain properties also. It leads to the decrease in ductility and other important properties, but definitely to a certain extent manganese, niobium, etc. can increase the strength to a particular extent. So, the answer cannot be manganese also. So, the answers are chlorine and sulfur. These two elements cannot increase the strength of steel. So, please do not be confused. Carbon is definitely the most important element which increases the strength. But manganese, niobium, etc. can also increase the strength to a certain extent. So, we cannot choose manganese. So, the only options left are chlorine and sulfur. So, this is a multiple select question. There are no negative marks and the two correct answers are chlorine and sulfur. So, this was all about the three subjects: irrigation, hydrology and steel structures. So, thank you all for joining.
Okay, let's move on to the environmental questions. Let's begin with this question from coagulation. A water treatment plant treats 25 mld of water with natural alkalinity of 4 milligram per liter. The water has natural alkalinity of 4 milligram per liter. It is estimated that during coagulation of this water, 450 kilogram per day of calcium bicarbonate is required. So, additionally, it requires 450 kilogram per day of calcium bicarbonate. Here you have to concentrate a little bit. This calcium bicarbonate requirement is 450 kilogram per day. It's not given in terms of calcium carbonate. So, we have to convert it in terms of calcium bicarbonate. So, we have this equation, right? Calcium bicarbonate CaHCO3 twice dissociates as CaCO3 plus CO2 plus H2O. Calcium bicarbonate, which has a molecular weight of around 162, and calcium carbonate has a molecular weight of around 100, right? So, 162 parts calcium bicarbonate as dissociates to produce 100 parts CaCO3, right? So, 1 part CaHCO3 twice 100 by 162 parts CaCO3. In this question, it's given that around 450 kilogram is the calcium bicarbonate requirement, right? So, 450 kilogram calcium bicarbonate, 450 kilogram calcium bicarbonate, it's equivalent to around 277.7 kilogram calcium carbonate. So our requirement is 277.7 in terms of calcium carbonate. So next we can use this equation, quicklime dosage of quicklime required. Dosage of quicklime required is equal to 56 by 100 into dosage. Dosage. Okay. This 0.56 into 277.7, which is around 155 point something kilogram. Next question is an MSQ, multiple select question. Primary pollutants from the following options are, we know that lead is a primary pollutant and SO2, it's also a primary pollutant. Both ozone and H2SO4 are secondary pollutants. So we have two right answers here, lead and SO2. Moving to the next question. Activated carbon is used to remove pollution from wastewater in a mixed batch reactor which follows first order reaction kinetics. At a reaction rate of 0.38 per day, the time required to remove the pollutant by 95%. As we are speaking of a mixed batch reactor, we can use this equation, that is NT is equal to N0 into e raised to minus KT, and NT, that is remaining, that is 95% removal, that is remaining is 5% only, N0 100 into e raised to minus k, reaction rate constant 0.38, it's already given the question, and we have to find this time t. By calculating, we will get this t as around 7.9 days. It's a simple question only. Moving to the next question, it's a match the following question. Match the correct option from the list A and list B. We know that ferrous metal can be linked with ferrous metal magnetic separator, ferrous metal magnetic separator, then aluminum and copper eddy separator, food waste, we know rapid combusting is the right answer, and for cardboard waste we can use incineration. So this is the correct matches. Next question. For assessing the compliance with emission standard of incineration plant, a correction need to be applied to the measured concentration of air pollutants. The emission standard based on 11% of oxygen, that is the emission standards, the emission standard is the emission standard based on 11% oxygen is 50 milligram per normal meter cube, and the measured concentration of HCl and O2 in the flue gas, that is actual concentration is 42 milligram per normal meter cube at 13% oxygen. But we all know that concentration of oxygen in the atmosphere is more than 20%, that is around 21%. So in this question we have to apply a correction. So how will we apply that correction? Concentration of HCl is 42 milligram per normal meter cube at 11 percentage O2. Emission standard, how much? Standard is about, emission standard is about 50 milligram per normal meter cube at 13 percentage O2. So we have to find this concentration at 21 percentage oxygen. It will be around 21 minus 11, that is emission standard, divided by 21 minus actual concentration of O2 into 42. So which will give us around 52.5 milligram per normal meter cube. So emission standard, how much? 50. So we got the value around 52.5, that is greater than emission standard. So it's violating the law, right? So we have to go to the option now. We have to go to the option. So I think the correct option is no compliance, as the corrected HCl emission is greater than the emission standard. So this is the right answer.
So hi friends, so let's discuss. The questions came from transportation engineering subject. The first question is actually from the highway geometry design chapter related to stopping side distance concept, right? So you can read the question here. The design speed of a vehicle on a highway is 60 kilometers per hour. So generally they used to give the design speed in kilometers per hour only, whereas we'll be using the value in meter per second while calculating the stopping side distance, right? So you might have already studied this concept. Either we can substitute in meter per second and proceed, or there is another equation in which we can use the value of design speed in kilometers per hour also, right? But always better to proceed with meter per second value to get more accurate data. Okay, now the question is like this, and that particular vehicle is moving on a road with downward gradient of 2%. It's on a descending gradient. The reaction time of the driver is given as 2.5 seconds. Even if the reaction time was not given in the question, then also we used to assume 2.5 seconds, right, as per IRC. But it's already given, so there is no point of assuming any value. Brake efficiency is given 0.7, which means 70%. Sometimes they used to give in percentage, sometimes like this, 0.7, okay, whatever, which means if it was 90%, we will be using 0.9 in the equation, right? So here directly they have given in that fractional form only. The coefficient of longitudinal friction is 0.6. The stopping side distance in meter, round off to integer, is. So generally in classes also students used to ask one doubt whenever they see such questions, that the longitudinal friction, how the coefficient of longitudinal friction can be greater than 0.4, right? Generally we use the value 0.35 to 0.4, right, in the design. Minimum 0.35, maximum 0.4, depends upon the speed of the vehicle, right? But in case in the question, if they are giving a data which is outside the range, then there is no point of getting any confusion. Take the data or take the value which is given in the question as it is, that's it. If we are calculating something, then okay, we need to limit the values. Okay, here they have given 0.6, but in case of design, generally we used to adopt a maximum 0.4, but there is no point of getting confusion. Once they are giving 0.6, take it and proceed, that's it. Okay, so we need to calculate the stopping side distance. Very simple question, right? We know the equation of stopping side distance. See, you can use either kilometers per hour, the speed you can substitute either in kmph or in meter per second. Only thing is properly you need to substitute, and the equation you need to take accordingly, that's it. So I would like to take in meter per second, because I always recommend to take in meter per second, because more accurate value, more accurate answer you are going to get. The equation like this, Vt plus V square by 2G, here is the test, right? If the vehicle is having a braking efficiency, whatever be the symbol, let me just put it as eta, we need to multiply the value of coefficient of friction with that given efficiency, right, eta f. But it is also given that the vehicle is not moving on a level road, right? It's going on a descending gradient or downward gradient. For how much? 2%. So that minus also will come because it's going down. If it was going on an upward gradient, then we'll be putting plus, right? So minus gradient, but this gradient always we need to substitute in the fractional format, not in the percentage form. Okay, so in the question they have given the speed in kilometers per hour. How much it was? 60 kilometers per hour, right? So that 60, first of all we need to convert in terms of meter per second. So first do that. V is equal to 60 into 5 by 18. So this calculation you can do. Once you are doing this, you are going to get 16.666, like that it may be coming, right? So better take at least 3 decimal so that your final answer will be more accurate. Okay, so once I'm substituting here, 16.667 into 2.5, that becomes our lag distance, right? Plus the braking distance value, which is 16.667 square by 2 into, see the acceleration due to gravity G value, whether they have given in the question? No. Sometimes they used to give, no, 10 meter per second square, like that. If they are not giving, then we need to assume the value 9.81. That's it. Into, I'm writing that portion here. Eta F, how much is eta? 70% or 0.7. So that 0.7 is what we need to use here. And F value is 0.6, right? And minus G value we need to substitute in fractional format, that is 0.02. Hope you're understanding it. Okay, this portion as of now I'm just rubbing so that you will not be getting any confusion here, right? That's it. So once you are doing this, so this second part, this second part is what? Called as our braking distance. Now they are asking stopping side distance, which is the sum of lag distance and braking distance. It comes out to be approximately 77 meter. That's it. I'm not writing accurate value, approximately 77. Now see, suppose you don't want to convert this into meter per second. You would like to continue in kilometers per hour equation. Okay, then also no issue. How we are going to solve it then? Stopping side distance equal to 0.278 Vt. That V is nothing but now in kilometers per hour, right? It's given 60, right? Yeah. So into 2.5. So this value is going to be now in kilometers per hour. So now we got the lag distance value. Now the braking distance will be V square divided by 254, right? V square by 254, then remaining things are same. So 0.7 into 0.6 minus 0.02, right? Even if you are doing this, then also you are going to get approximately, how much it was? 77, right? 77 meter. See, if you are taking the exact decimals, then obviously a minute change will be coming in the answer, but doesn't matter. Approximately it's going to be 77. So the range they may be giving like maybe 75 to 80 or 76 to 78, something like, and they can give us the answer. Okay, so it was a numerical answer type question. So better to substitute 77 as our final answer. Okay, so hope you got the concept. Now we can move on to the next question. Here is the next question. It's actually from the traffic engineering chapter. It's actually the combination of two different concepts. See how beautifully they are making the question. But if you have gone through the previous gate questions, which I have already asked in the previous years, then definitely you will be able to solve it, because a similar kind of question has been already asked. Okay, I can say almost 90% same. Only thing is they have simply changed the data here and there. That's it. Okay, otherwise the question is actually same. What they have given is the average space headway to jam density on the road is 8 meter, which means at the traffic jam condition, the average space headway between the vehicles is 8 meter. Okay, now what is the meaning of space headway, by the way? Is it the clear distance? No, it's a center to center distance. Okay, now for a linear speed density relationship, what theorem or what model, traffic model that you should keep in mind when you're seeing the word linear speed density? It is the green shield equation, right? In our channel, we have done a separate video on green shield theorem, right? That much important topic it is. So for a linear speed density relationship, the maximum flow expected on the road is the unit they are asking vehicles per hour per lane. You should not be getting any confusion when you see per lane, because whenever we calculate the traffic flow, actually we are calculating in per lane only. Even if they are giving simply like vehicles per hour, then also our answer will be remain same. Got it? Now how to solve it? We require the maximum flow, right, as per linear speed density model. So as per linear speed density model, the maximum flow, if I am writing Q max, let it be. Q max is equal to free flow speed Vf into traffic jam density Kj whole divided by 4, right? This is our equation. Just for your better understanding, actually this equation is coming like this, Vf by 2 into Kj by 2, where Vf by 2 is the speed at maximum flow condition and Kj by 2 is the density at maximum flow condition. This is how that denominator 4 we are getting in the main equation. Now this Kj means what? It is the traffic density at traffic jam condition, right? But in this question, look at this question, they have given the free mean speed, which is nothing but the free flow speed, that is given 60. But the jam density Kj is not given, right? Then how we are going to calculate the value of maximum flow? That's why they have given this particular data. The average space headway is 8 meter. So which means that Kj value they have given indirectly. How? We know the average space headway Hs, or you can put S, is equal to 1000 divided by K. This is the relationship between space headway and the density, right? Now, if they are telling that the spacing is something at a traffic jam condition, then corresponding K value in the equation also will be the density at a traffic jam condition. At a particular time, what is the spacing? Then corresponding density you will get. Or at a particular time, what is the density? Corresponding, if you are substituting in the equation, corresponding space headway you are going to get. So this value, this 8 meter, they have mentioned that this 8 meter is a traffic jam condition, right? So obviously, this Kj will be how much then? 1000 divided by 8 meter, that's it. This much vehicles per kilometer. Now we don't have to solve it right now, right? Because we don't require this data. We require it, or we have to substitute this data into this particular equation in place of Kj, right or not? So better you can do like that only, so that more accurate answer you are going to get. No need to calculate this value here, okay? Which means this Q max is going to be, Vf was given as 60, let me just confirm that. Yes, 60 kmh, right? So Vf was 60 into what I can substitute for Kj, that is 1000 divided by 8, let it be there. Now there is a divide by 4 also, so that more accurate answer you are going to get, that's all. Okay, so once you are doing this, how much you are going to get? It's, I guess it's 1875 vehicles per hour. Now we can just put per lane also, it's optional. Since they have mentioned that it's per lane, then you can put it. Generally this speed, density, everything, we are going to calculate per lane only, right? For each lane only we are going to calculate it. So if you are putting vehicles per hour or per lane, in this context, doesn't matter. So 1875 will be the final answer. Going back to the options, which option we are getting as the final answer? Option A will be the final answer. 1875 vehicles per hour per lane. Got it? So such a beautiful question, combination of multiple concepts. Okay, that's it. Hope you got it. Now moving on to the next question. It's actually from the payment design chapter related to the design of flexible payment. From which method? In the classes also we used to give more focus on this particular topic because that much important it is. It's related to the modified CBR method, right? You can understand that when you are seeing the unit MSA. MSA is a special unit that we are adopting in the modified CBR method. We used to calculate the value of design traffic in CSA unit actually, cumulative standard axles. Then later, since it's going to be a very big value, right? We used to divide that big value of CSA with 10 raised to 6. That's what is called as 1 million. 1 million is nothing but 10 raised to 6. So the value which you are getting after calculation, once you are dividing with 1 million, you are going to get a reduced value which is in million standard axle MSA. So whatever data we require to solve this question, they have given already. But there is a small twist. They have just incorporated another concept into this particular question. That's the only change. Okay. So you might have already seen the focus area classes and all which we have done in the YouTube channel. So there I have already explained this concept. Okay, so those students who have already watched it might have solved it in the exam easily. Anyway, so look at the question. They have given the average axle load is given as 12,000 kilogram and the number of commercial vehicles equal to 800 per day. When? This is the point. So that 800 vehicles per day is counted on a particular day. It's not an estimated value, right? Always when we are designing a road, we need to check or we need to estimate, we need to forecast, we need to anticipate. That's why it's called as anticipated traffic. We need to anticipate the number of vehicles when the road is open to public. Because right now, if you are planning to construct a road, it may be taking around 1 year or 2 years or 3 years to complete, right? Whatever. So whatever be that duration, after that 3 years, if the construction period is 3 years, after that 3 years, what will be the future number of vehicles? That we need to anticipate first. Okay. So here what they have given is, it is to be reconstructed over a period of 5 years from the date of survey. Which means right now, suppose in this year, we are planning to reconstruct the road. Right now, the number of vehicles is 800 per day. 800 CVPD it might be, whatever. Now we are starting the payment construction. Now after 5 years, the payment construction process will be over. But that time, what will be the future number of vehicles that we don't know right now? They have given at the time of survey it's 800. So the first task is we need to calculate that anticipated traffic, the future traffic after the construction of the road. That is our first task and that we need to substitute here, right? Okay, let it be there. Now read the next given data. The design life of the payment is 15 years. Okay, generally the flexible payments used to design from 10 to 20 years generally, right? 20 years for the expressways and for national highways, state highways, it will be from 10 to 15 years. Depends on the importance of the road, but we don't have to think about all those things because it's directly given in the question. Now they use the design standard axle load as 8160 kilogram. This is an important point. Suppose in future if you are trying to solve similar questions, most of the time they don't used to give this data. If they are not giving, generally we used to assume a data of 80 kilonewton as the axle load. If the axle load is 80 kilonewton, the wheel load, 80 kilonewton if you are converting into kilogram, it will be approximately this particular value only, 8160. Okay, but generally we used to assume 8200 kilogram and all, right? You know that. But here, however, they have given no need to, remember those standard values at this context. And the next thing is, they are giving that the vehicle growth rate, annual growth rate it is actually, it's 4%. Okay, that data directly we require. Now assume that the equivalent wheel load factor, this is what I told you, we have discussed in the focus area class, and the vehicle damage factor are equal, which means the vehicle damage factor we are having one particular equation, and for the equivalent load factor or equivalency factor, like that also we say, right? For that we are having another equation. But even if you don't know what is the value of this equivalent wheel load factor, then also we'll be getting it. Why? Because it's a standard rule that the vehicle damage factor of a particular load will be always equal to the equivalency factor, or equivalent wheel load factor of that particular load. Okay, for a particular single load, both will be always same. Even if they are not giving here, it will be always same for a particular load. Understood? Whatever be the frequency, doesn't matter, it will get cancelled. So if you have attended those sessions, you might have already understood what I am telling, right? So anyway, finally what we need to calculate is the cumulative standard axles in MSA. So shall we solve it? Yes. So taking the data one by one, which is given in the question, the ultimate equation which we are going to use is the design traffic. If I am just keeping it as N, this is what they are asking. It's going to be equal to 365 ADF into 1 plus R raised to N minus 1. Is it over? No. Whole divided by R. So this is the equation we are going to use in this particular solution. Now in this, which all data are directly given, R is given as some 4% something. Then distribution factor is not given in the question, right? So in any question, If the lane distribution factor D is not given, we are going to assume that it's a single lane road. So for a single lane road, D will be always equal to 1. So this is the point that you need to keep in mind. All other data, N is also given, right? N is given as 20 years. That's it. Now, all other data we need to calculate. So first of all, A value, the anticipated traffic. How to calculate? The present traffic into 1 plus R raised to X, where X is nothing but the construction period. That they have given in the question, right? They have given that is how much? 5 years, right? So this P is what is given as 800 into 1 plus rate is given as 4%, which means it's 0.04. Don't substitute 4 there. If you're substituting 4, then it's going to be 5, right? You know that will not be happening. The same kind of equation you are using in the environmental engineering subject and maybe for interest rate calculations, right? Same thing. So raised to 5. Once you are doing this, you are going to get 935.886 commercial vehicles per day. So no need to round it off. Okay, here if you are rounding it off, then final answer may have some change. So better to take exact value. That's it. Okay, so I'm taking it and substituting back. But before that, what I need to do? The vehicle damage factor also I need to calculate. What they have given is it's equivalent to the equivalency factor, okay, or load factor, whatever. Even if they are not giving it, we know vehicle damage factor of a particular load is nothing but the load value given by the standard load. They have given 8160. This is in kg, so this also should be in kg. Yes, they have given in kg only. Suppose if the given data was in Newton, then what to do? This value you need to convert into Newton by multiplying with 9.81, right? Such, what I can say, the change in units and all you need to take care always while doing the questions. Now this raised to 4 into the corresponding frequency divided by frequency. This is what is called as the vehicle damage factor of a particular vehicle, right? Now you see this frequency will get cancels. No, then what is remaining then? This will get cancels. That's it. Which means what? The load by standard load raised to 4. This is what we call as the equivalency factor, right? The equivalency factor of a particular load. This is the equation. Which means even if they were not giving that statement in the question, the same thing only we are going to take. Simple. Okay, just to give, they have given that just to confuse you. Suppose if any student who don't know what is the meaning of equivalency factor or equivalent load factor, maybe there is a chance that they will be skipping the question. Okay, just for that, exactly for that purpose only they have given it. But if you are a serious GATE aspirant, I always used to tell to the students in the classes, don't skip any topic, right? If you're studying one particular topic, study 100%. Okay, because otherwise you see the students who have by hearted all these things but don't know what is equivalency factor, they are going to lose that valuable 2 marks. That's it, right? So once you solve it, you're going to get whatever. I don't have to solve it and put it there, no, exact what value it is, because directly we can substitute here. However, suppose if you want to check whether you are doing it right, it's going to be around 4.6769 something, right? Try to take more decimals so that your answer is going to be more accurate. Either you can calculate it like this, or what you can do, the same value you can just exactly put here, so that more accurate answer you are going to get. Okay, so we got all the values, right? Yes. Now we can substitute back, and once you are substituting it, the design traffic, you are going to get a big value, which is going to be 365 into 935.886, 365A, right? D will be 1. Then what value we got right now? 4.6769 plus 1 plus R raised to N, right? So it's going to be 1.04 raised to 20. Sorry, how much it was? Design life? I'm sorry, just a second. Design life was how much? 15 years, right? I'm sorry. So here I have written 20. You might have already noticed that it's 15. Okay, right. So 1 plus R raised to N. That N is also, this is nothing but the design life, okay? So this is going to be 20 minus 1. Now whole divided by R. R is how much? 0.04, right? So once you are doing this, you are going to get a very big value. which is going to be around 32 point something into 10 raised to 6, right? This is how you are going to get. Okay, so this value is in cumulative standard axles, CSA unit. Okay, so we need to convert into MSA, which means we need to divide with the 10 raised to 6. It's going to be approximately 32 million standard axles. So more accurate data you can take around 33 or 32, whatever. Okay, this is how we need to calculate the value of, so this is 15, right? That's 15, sorry. Okay, design life is 15, which was given in the question. And the important thing is this 1, why we have taken 1. They have not mentioned anything in the question, so by default we always assume that it's a single lane road. Okay, so this is how we calculate the design traffic in CSA or MSA unit. Okay, so I hope you understood the explanation. Moving on to the next question, which is actually from the railway engineering subject, or I can say chapter. The number of trains and the corresponding speed for a curved broad gauge section with 437 meter, it is 437 meter radius R. They have given a data and finally they are asking the superelevation, right? The equilibrium count. What is the meaning of equilibrium count? Nothing but the superelevation, that's it. The superelevation which is providing in the railway track, the actual value of superelevation which is providing on the railway track can be also called as equilibrium count. We know that, right? Now to calculate the equilibrium count, very important point, the difference between superelevation in highways and in railway. What is the main difference? In highway we used to take the design speed for designing the superelevation, whereas in railway we used to take the average speed of all the trains which are using that particular curve or particular railway track for the design of superelevation, right? So in highway we were requiring the design speed, whereas in railway we require the average speed of the trains. Now how to calculate the average speed? It is simply the average of all the speeds of the vehicles, all the trains which are using that railway track. If we are getting the speed of all the trains, we can easily calculate the average. But here the twist is they have given the corresponding number also. Similar questions we have done in our sessions also, right? Similar questions. Now a set of data they have given with the number of trains and their corresponding speed. What is the meaning of this? There are 20 number of trains which are having a speed of 40 kmph. Similarly, 15 trains are having a speed of 50 kmph and so on. Okay, now they have given some data also here. The center to center gauge distance is 1750 mm. We need to calculate the equilibrium count or superelevation. Now we know this value 1750 and all. Even if they were not giving this statement here, then also we used to assume 1750 mm only, right? That's a standard result. Okay, anyway, since they have given here, there is no point of assuming any standard value. Okay, now ultimately what we are going to calculate here is the superelevation, which is nothing but GV square, which is nothing but average speed, divided by 127 R. This is our equation, right? Now that's going to be this G, they have given that it is 1750 mm into, see in which unit I need to substitute G. Any unit you can substitute, no issue. In whichever unit you are substituting the G value, in that unit only you are going to get the value of E. Because this V square by 127 R will not be having any unit, provided you need to substitute the average speed in kilometers per hour. 127, the radius they have given in the question already as 437 meter, right? It's 437 meter. Okay, now our challenge is to calculate that average speed now. Now how to calculate the average speed? If they are giving the corresponding numbers also, then we have to calculate the, that's it, weighted average, right? What is the meaning of weighted average? N1 V1 plus N2 V2 plus etc., right? Whole divided by whatever be the total number of vehicles that you need to add. This is how the weighted average is to calculate now, which means what will be the values then? There are 20 trains which are traveling at 40 kmph like that, no? So which means let me show that weighted average speed here itself, which means 20 into 40 plus 12 trains are coming at 60 kmph, so 12 into 60 plus then 20 trains at 40, 15 trains at 50. Okay, that I have not taken. Here I can take. No, there is no order here. 15 into 50 plus 12 into 60 I have already taken. Then 8 into 70 plus the last one is there are 3 trains which are of 80 kmph. Is it over? No. Now we need to divide with total number. Total number means what? 20 plus 15 plus 12 plus like that. Okay. So 20. I'm just writing completely. You can just directly add it and put it there. Okay. In case if anyone is getting confusion, let them get a clarity. That's all. Okay. That's it. So like this, if you are doing, you are going to get an average value of the speed. That comes out to be around 52.93, right? You might have already solved it. How much it is? This average value is going to be around 52.93. Obviously in kilometers per hour we are going to get, because all the speeds which we have substituted in the equation is in kilometers per hour. Okay, so take that 52.93 back to this equation here, right? So 52.93 kmph. So taking this back to this equation and substitute the value, it's going to be, okay, can you directly write it now? Okay, already it's there. So you're going to get 88.34 millimeter, right? But there is an important thing. There is a limiting value of this superelevation, right? There is a limiting value of this superelevation. How much it is? It should be always less than 165 mm, or I can say less than or equal to. The limiting value is 165 mm, which means max to max you can provide only 165 millimeter. Yes, comfortably it's less than the maximum limit, so no issue. This is going to be the final answer because this condition is getting satisfied, right? So 88.34 millimeter will be the final answer here. Okay, maybe suppose if you are a GATE aspirant who is planning to write the exams in the upcoming, GATE exams or other exams, look at here, it's 437 meter given here, no, as the radius. Suppose this value was not given in the question, then what to do? Then they will be giving another data which is called as degree, right? There is a concept of degree of curve, where degree of curve is nothing but 1750 divided by r. This we have already explained in our sessions and all. So suppose if they were giving that, instead of giving that it's 437 meter radius curve, they are giving like it's a 4 degree curve. Then what you will do? Suppose if they were giving that, it's a 4 degree curve. Then the radius will become 1750 divided by d, right? D. So d, once you are substituting 4, 1750 by 4, how much you are going to get? 1750 by 4, approximately you are going to get 437.5 meter, right? See, which means in case in any question, instead of giving radius, if they were giving degree like this, say 4 degree, 3 degree, 2 degree, something like that, then we can calculate the radius like this and proceed. So giving in the question that the radius is 437.5 meter, or if they are giving it's a 4 degree curve, both are same. That's the meaning. Understood? So like that also a twist can come in the future exam questions. So that point you can keep in mind. Maybe in the same data, if we are having two values, suppose if you need to calculate see dash and dash respectively, such questions they used to ask. No, I'm going to show one question which has been already asked in the 24 exam, dash and dash respectively. So in such a case, maybe they could be asking like this, the equilibrium superelevation and the degree of curve are dash and dash respectively. Like that also they will be able to ask the question. So in such cases, the degree we can calculate like this. According to this question, the degree will be 1750 by 437. That also approximately around 4 degree you will be getting. Right or not? That's it. So this is how we need to calculate it. So 88.34 will be the final answer. We need to calculate the value in millimeter, round off to nearest integer, which means 88.34, around 88 you can substitute. The answer key range, they may be giving like around 86 to 90, something like that. Okay, whatever. The more accurate data we got, 88.34. So 88 you can substitute as your final answer. That's it. So I hope you got the concept and the concept has become very clear. So shall we proceed to the next question? Yes. Okay. The question is actually from the airport engineering. Very simple question, direct question. That's it. No need to solve anything. It's kind of a theory question which actually we use in the runway length correction calculations and all. But they are not asking you the corrected value or anything. They are simply asking you the theory part of it. The runway length of the airport is increased by X percentage for every increase in height of Y meter above mean sea level. The values of X and Y are respectively. Options were there. I am not putting the options here. Not required, right? Because it's a very direct theory question. That's why. Okay. So this is related to which kind of correction? Yes, elevation correction, right? We are having three corrections: elevation correction, temperature correction, and effective gradient correction. In that, the order in which we need to proceed is the first elevation correction, then temperature correction, then effective gradient correction. In that, the first correction, which is nothing but elevation correction, somewhat related to the height above mean sea level, which we call as elevation, right? Elevation means what? Above mean sea level. What is the height? That is called as elevation, right? So here, what they told is, what they are asking is the value of X and Y above the mean sea level. Suppose let's leave the question. The concept is like this: for every 300 meter rise above mean sea level, right? Above mean sea level, it's like this: for every 300 meter rise above mean sea level, the basic runway length should be increased by 7%. This is the concept, right? But here they have not mentioned that it is basic runway length. However, it's okay. That's why I told you. I was explaining the order in which the corrections are to be applied. The first correction will be elevation correction. That will be on the basic runway length. So no need to mention that it is basic runway length. However, the airport, the runway length means that's only, right? Okay. So it is increased by 7% for every 300 meter rise in mean sea level. So what is X and what is Y? That order is also important. X and Y respectively. So increased by X percentage, which means X is going to be 7 for every Y meter. Y is going to be 300. That's it. Understood? So this will be the final answer of this question. I hope you got the concept. It's very simple, and once we are applying this correction and we are going to get the elevation correction, and if you are adding that elevation correction with the basic runway length, we are going to get the new corrected length, right? That's the concept. So that could be a possible future question. Okay, so these are the questions we have got in the first session of the GATE examination, and we'll meet with the questions which I have asked in the afternoon sessions also. Okay, so by then I hope you got the concepts. Thank you.
Hi students, now let's discuss the questions asked from fluid mechanics in the forenoon section. Okay, so the first question is, what is the number of degrees of freedom for a natural open channel with a mobile bed is? Which means they are asking about a river bed. There are 4 degrees of freedom actually. The 4 degrees of freedom are, the first one is the depth of flow, the width, the slope, and the planiform. Planiform mainly comes in case of meandering rivers. So the answer for this question is actually 4. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question, the second question. The second question is from fluid kinematics. There is a velocity vector that is 3I plus 5x j. It is shown in vector form. In the context of the fluid flow, which of these following statements are correct? There are 4 statements. It is an MCQ question, which means only one can be correct. Okay. Option A is the fluid is compressible and the flow is rotational. Option B, the fluid is incompressible and the flow is irrotational. Option C, compressible and rotation. And option D is incompressible and rotational. So we have to check whether the flow is or the fluid is rotational or compressible or incompressible. Okay. So for the fluid to be incompressible or compressible, it has to satisfy the continuity equation. Okay, so the continuity equation for an incompressible flow, we usually write, if it is steady, we usually write as in case of 3D, we write as dou u by dou x plus dou v by dou y plus dou w by dou z is equal to 0. We can say that the fluid is incompressible, right? Okay, so here it is only a 2-dimensional flow, which means they are only given x and y, that is I and j. So there are only two ordinates. So we can write for this, we have to check whether it satisfies dou u by dou x plus dou v by dou y is equal to 0. If it is 0, we can say that the fluid is incompressible. So the velocity vector given is like this. V vector is equal to 3i plus 5xj, right? Which means the u component or the x component is given as 3 and the y component or the y component of velocity is given as it is 5x. Usually we write velocity vector like this. It is ui plus vj plus wk. So it is with I is u and with j is it is v. So it is 3i plus 5xj. So the u is 3 and v is 5x. So let's differentiate accordingly. So dou u by dou x, what do we get? 0. Again, dou v by dou y, it is x partial differential, so it is again 0. So we can say that the fluid is incompressible. Okay, so we can say that the fluid is incompressible. Okay. Okay, so when we look into the options, this is incompressible. So this is compressible, wrong. Compressible and compressible both are wrong. So the answer is either B or D. Now we have to check whether the flow is rotational or irrotational. For that, we have to check the cross component. This is the, we can also write this as dot product, that is del dot V is like this. Now we have to check whether it is irrotational or rotational. For that, we have to check whether it is del cross V is equal to 0. If del cross V is equal to 0, we can say that the flow is irrotational. If not, the flow is rotational. So del cross V is generally written like this: I, j, k, dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z, and u, v, w. For a 3D, we have to take the according to determinant. So here it is only two dimensional. We can write like this, right? This I and j, dou by dou x, dou by dou y, and again it is u and v. Okay, like this. So we can write this as dou v by dou x minus dou u by dou y. If this value is 0, we can say that the flow is irrotational. If not, the flow is not irrotational. Okay, so again the velocity component is given us like 3i plus 5xj, right? So it is again u is, this is our u and this is our v, right? So it is dou v by dou x. So dou v by dou x, we get an answer, right? Dou v by dou x, we get 5. And again dou u by dou y, there is no component, so it is again minus 0, which means we are getting an answer for the cross component, which means the flow is rotational. The flow is rotational. Hope you understand the concept. So if the dot product is 0 of the velocity component, the flow is incompressible, and if the cross product is 0, the flow is irrotational. If here we are only having two-dimensional flow, or we are only having x and y components, so we have to write accordingly. This question also can be solved by considering the rotational components like omega x, omega y, omega z. You can also solve that way. So the answer for this question will be the flow is incompressible and the flow is rotational. So the answer for this question is option D. The fluid is incompressible and the flow is rotational. Okay. So I think this will be 2 more questions depending upon the intensity of this question, because there are 2 solutions we have to find, and for that 2 solutions there will be only one option, even though I think it is having a 2 more question. Okay. Shall we move to next question? I think you are clear with this. Okay. So let's move to the next question. Okay. It is a very easy question actually. This similar type of question we have already lots of questions in the classroom. Okay, so it is a very similar question we have written in the classroom. So a spillway has a unit discharge of 7.5 meter cube per second per meter. Sorry, 7.5 meter cube per second per meter. The depth of flow of a horizontal apron is 0.5 meter. The tailwater depth 0.5 meter. The tailwater depth required to form a hydraulic jump is, and they are asking that the correction should be made for 2 decimals. So this question can be approached in 2 ways, or we can use 2 different formulas for finding the solution. I will tell both the formulas. how we can solve this. Okay, so for a hydraulic jump, if we are considering a rectangular channel, the unit is given us like this. So it is 7.5 meter cube per second per meter. So we can consider this as our small q, which means small q indicates the corresponding discharge per unit width. So small q is the corresponding discharge per unit width. So once we know this value, and again there is a flow depth of 0.5 meter, and again what is the hydraulic depth of water required for the hydraulic jump, which means we have to find the depth after the jump. The depth before the jump is given as 0.5 meter, we have to find the depth just after the jump. So this is y1, we have to find y2. Okay, there are two equations. The first one is a direct equation, we can write like this. It is y1 y1 y2 into y1 plus y2 will be equal to 2q square by g. We can use this formula. This is a one formula we can use, where we know the value of y1, it is given as already 0.5. We know the value of q, already we know the value of g. So if we substitute these values, we can solve by this equation to find y2. So how can we write? It is again 0.5 into y2 whole into 0.5 plus y2. Okay, that is equal to 2 into 7.5 square divided by 9.81. Okay, so you only have y2 as your solution. So either you can use trial and error, which means the LHS should be equal to RHS. For this, you can put a number of values for y2, you can solve like this, and you will get the answer for y2 as 4.55 meter. Okay, this is one method. There is one more method which is an easier method. Okay, but we have to use multiple formulas. So this method is, let's write it as method 2. One more method. Okay, so first of all, find the Fruits number for this first one. So hydraulic jump is occurring so from an unstable supercritical flow to stable subcritical flow. So the first one will be Fruits number 1. So let's find the Fruits number 1 for the first flow. Okay, so it is V divided by root G y1. For a rectangular channel, it will be V divided by root G y1. So we can write V, or V1 divided by root G1. We can write G V as Q divided by area, which is equal to B into y1 into root G y1. So Q by B will be our small q, which is equal to 7.5 divided by root of the 7.5. 7.5 divided by root of 9.81 into 0.5, the whole into 0.5. Okay, so you can find the value of Fruits number 1. You will get a value for Fruits number 1. Then there is another equation connecting y2 and y1 like this. y2 by y1 is equal to 1 by 2 into root of 1 plus 8 fr1 square minus 1. Okay. Here also you already know the value of y1, which is equal to 0.5. fr1 square we can find using this equation. So if you substitute this in this above equation, again we can get the value of y2 as 4.55 meter. So both the methods are possible. You can get the answer, similar answer in both the methods. It is the right way of choosing it. Okay, if you are convinced with this formula, you can this method 1. If you are convinced with the second one, you can use the second. Okay, now let's move to the last question. Okay, so this is the question from fluid statics. The question is like this. A 5 by 5 meter water tank of 10 meter height contains water and oil and is connected to an overhead water reservoir as shown in figure. Use the specific weight of water as 10 kilonewton per meter cube and the specific gravity of oil as 0.8. The total force in kilonewton due to the pressure on the side PQR of the tank is. Answer to the nearest integer, which means the answer should be written as a whole number. We do not require any decimal. It should be rounded off to as an integer or a whole number. So now let's see what actually is the figure. So this is the figure. Many of the students get confused with this question is like that. They think that the pressure at the point R, this point, this will be 0. But it is not, because it is not a closed container. Okay. So if it is not a closed container, if it is not an open container, the pressure at this point is not atmospheric pressure, right? It is a closed site, so there is a pressure. So we have to find the value of pressure at this point. So let's assume the pressure at this point is PR. Okay. So this is a common horizontal line. So if we consider or we take the pressure at both the sides of this tank and this tank, the pressure value must be same, isn't it? So at both these points, the pressure must be same. In this tank, the pressure at the base will be equal to water pressure. So it is equal to rho of water into G into H of water, this height. And on this side, it will be equal to the pressure at point R plus rho of oil into G into H of oil. Okay. So let's substitute the values. Rho of water into G is equal to gamma W into the height will be equal to 10. That is equal to pressure at R plus rho of oil is equal to, the specific gravity is 0.8, right? So 0.8 into rho of water into G into that height is equal to 4. Just rearrange these values, we get pressure at R is equal to 10 minus 4 into its 3.2. So it is 10 minus 3.2. The rho W into G will be equal to gamma W, right? So it is gamma W. So we get this as gamma W is 10. So the pressure at R, point R will be 68 kilopascal. Okay. So we got the pressure at point R as 68 kilopascal. It is not equal to 0. Okay. You have to understand that. Okay. So similarly, what will be the pressure at this level? So this point, right? So for the 10-meter height, we are having water column. So pressure at this point, let's see, it's PQ. Pressure at Q will be again rho water into G into this height, right? So it is 10, which means 10 gamma W, and which is equal to, it is 100 kilopascal. Okay. So at pressure at Q is 100 kilopascal. What will be the pressure at P then? This point, what is the pressure at this point PP? So for 10 meter it is water. Again from this below it is again water. For it is 16 meter. So we can easily write as 16 gamma W, which is equal to 160 kilopascal. Okay. So we got the pressure at these 3 points, 68, 100 and 160. Now we have to draw the pressure variation diagram. So the pressure variation diagram will be like this. So this is our point. Okay. At R we will be having some pressure value. This is R. So the value at R, or the pressure at R, is 68. So we got at 68. And at Q, the pressure value is a bit on the higher side. So let's draw like this. This is equal to 100. And at P, the pressure value is again higher. So yes, right like this. Okay. So it is again 160. Right. So let us join this. Okay. So this is the pressure variation diagram. If you find the area of the pressure variation diagram, we will get the total force per unit width. Okay, so for that we have to need the distance of RQ. We know that the value is 4 meter, and again the QP distance or the PQ distance is given again as 4 plus 2, it is 6 meters. So one is 4 meter and other one is 6 meter. Okay, so let's write 6 meter. Okay, so now let's find the area of this figure. So it is the combination of two trapezoids, right? This is 1 and this is 2. This is not a straight line. Okay, you don't have to think like that. It is always straight line. It will be a different line height. Just draw like this. Okay. Then find the area. So the total force per unit width will be equal to the area, which is equal to half into 68 plus 100 into the distance between them is 4 meter. Like the area of the trapezoidum half h into a plus b. So this is the one part, plus again half into 100 plus 160 into 6, right? Thus strike of these values. This is equal to 2. Again this is equal to 3. So we will be getting 168 into 2 plus 260 into 3. Find these values. Let's multiply. So it is 168 into 2 plus 260 into 3. We will be getting 101,116 kilonewton per meter square per meter. This is the total pressure per unit width. What is our question? We have to find the total force. For that, we have to multiply the given value with the width. So the width in this question is, the size of the tank is like 5 by 5 meter, right? So the width will be equal to 5 meter. So for the total force, or the total force is given like this. Total force is equal to 1116 into 5, and it will be getting 5580 kilonewton. So this is the answer for this question. Okay, this is an interesting question, and this will be having a weightage of 2 marks. So these are the 4 questions from fluid mechanics in the Forenoon section. Hope you have understand this. Thank you.
Hi friends, now let's discuss the questions from geotechnical engineering. We are having a good number of questions from geotechnical engineering. Here is the first one, from the concept of stability of slopes. Here they have given the case of a cohesionless soil. This is the keyword, because we know in case of the calculation of factor of safety or the stability of slopes, we are having multiple equations, right? A general equation for C5 soil. Soils are having cohesion as well as angle of internal friction. And if it is a cohesionless soil, as given in this question, we will be slightly modifying the equation. And if it is a cohesive soil having angle of internal friction 0, then also we will be slightly modifying the equations that we know. Okay, so here they have given the case of a cohesionless soil. They have also given that the angle of slope is 30 degree with respect to horizontal. Okay, the unit weight is also there, 20 kilonewton per meter cube. This is a very important thing, that the unit weight of water is given in the question. If it was not given, then we need to assume the value is equal to 9.81 kilonewton per meter cube. So since it is given in the question itself, you shouldn't assume 9.81. If you are doing like that, the final answer may go beyond the given answer key range. That's very important thing. Now the minimum angle of shearing resistance for critical stability condition. This is the next keyword. What is the meaning of critical stability condition? There you go, factor of safety will be equal to 1, right? So how we are going to solve it? We know for C5 soil, the factor of safety equation is equal to gamma submerged, I am putting it as gamma dash, gamma submerged into Z into cos I tan phi plus C, right? Since it's a C5 soil, divided by gamma saturated into Z, sorry, this is cos square I will come here. So cos I into sin I, right? So this is the equation we will be generally having. And since here they have given that it's a cohesionless soil, right? So which means C is going to be 0. If that is becoming 0, some terms will get cancelled, right? This Z and Z will get cancelled. And in this cos square I, one cos and this cos I will get cancelled. Now what is remaining? We are having gamma saturated into tan phi divided by gamma saturated into, see here we are having a cos I, here there is a sin I. So if I am taking that cos I down, which means it is going to be tan I, right? So this is how the equation is coming. Either you can by heart this equation, or we can simply by heart the general equation, just modify according to the question. Okay, so how to calculate the gamma submerged value? We know the equation of gamma submerged, which is nothing but gamma saturated minus gamma W into tan phi, where tan phi is nothing but the angle of internal friction, and gamma saturated into tan I. Right? Here in this question, they have already given the value of I as 30 degree, right? So tan 30 degree we need to substitute here. This phi is what we need to calculate. They are asking in the question, and gamma saturated and gamma W are already given in the question. So it's simple. We directly need to substitute it. But there is an important thing. What's there on the left hand side? They have mentioned in the question that it's the critical condition, right? Critical stability condition. Which means what? Which means what? The factor of safety is 1, right? If the factor of safety is greater than 1, we are stable. If the factor of safety is less than 1, we are unstable. And if it is equal to 1, that is the critical condition, right? So which means in the question, we need to substitute the value of factor of safety, which I have denoted using the letter F. This left hand side will be equal to 1. So just substitute here 1. Gamma saturated is given as 20. Gamma W given as 10. This is what I told you. Suppose this value, if it was not given in the question, we needed to substitute 9.81. Since it is given, you have to take the exact value given in the question. Okay. Now tan phi divided by this gamma W only we have, sorry, this is gamma saturated. I'm sorry. So this is 20, okay. Just a second, yeah. 20 into tan 30, right? Just substitute it. You will be getting an equation for tan phi. So just take phi is equal to the tan inverse, that value, whatever it is. You can easily calculate it. Once you are doing this, you are going to get 49.1 degree, right? So tan inverse around 1.15, something like that you may get. 1.1547, right? So try to take more decimals so that your final answer or the final value of phi also will be, the angle of internal friction also will be more accurate. Okay, so here 49.1 will be our final answer. Hope you got it. Okay, so in whatever decimals they are asking us to report the answer, we can substitute that many decimals. That's it. Okay, right. Now moving on to the next question. This question is actually related to the Skempton's pore pressure theory. We know for Skempton's concept, we are having two different parameters, Skempton's parameters. Generally, we give the letters A and B to denote that. See, doesn't matter whatever symbol you are giving, but generally there is a practice of giving A and B. In that, the B, the second Skempton's pore pressure parameter, is what they are asking in this question. Okay, so they have given a lot of data here, but to be very frank, they might have given all these things just to confuse you. Because we don't require these concepts and all, right? This axial stress increased to 50 kilopascal. I hope you have not made any mistake due to that additional data given in the question. Because we know this Skempton's parameter B is related to the confining pressure, right? Not the axial pressure. So that's just to give, they have given to just to confuse you, that's it. Okay, so what we need to do? We know the Skempton's pore pressure parameter B will be calculated as the change in pore water pressure by delta sigma 3. Right, this is our equation. And they have directly given in the question that initially the back pressure was, which means the pore pressure. Okay, but this back pressure 10 is nothing but the pressure in we will be applying initially to make the soil fully saturated, right? That's the concept. So that was given as 10 initially, then it's increased by 1 kilopascal, changed by 1 kilopascal, which means directly they are giving it as 1 kilopascal. Or else what you can do, it's simply nothing but 11 minus 10. Initially it was 10, now it is increased by 1, which means now it has become 11. The change is 1. Okay, so we don't have to calculate that, right? We are not writing a conventional paper. Directly they have given that the change is 1 kilopascal. Now divided by, how much will be the change in sigma 3? Initially they have given that it's 20 and now it has increased it to 30 kilopascal, which means the change will be how much? 10 kilopascals. Very simple question. Only thing is you need to pick the right values from the question. That's it. If you are having the concept, then it's very simple. If you are not strong about the concept, or if you have only partial knowledge about the concept, then it's going to be definitely very much difficult. So very simple, 1 by 10 is equal to 0.1. We know the parameters will not be having any unit. So 0.1 will be our final answer. Okay, that's it. Now going into the next question. The question is from consolidation. Yes, even in the focus area classes made by Civilianz, the sir has already told you, without consolidation there will be no gate exam, right? Exactly the same came in the exam for 2 marks. The total primary consolidation settlement on a 10 meter thick saturated clay layer is estimated to be 50 millimeter. By the way, what is the meaning of this total primary consolidation settlement? We generally call it as, there you go, the ultimate settlement, right? So the ultimate settlement is given as 50 millimeter. Okay, now the next data. After 300 days of the construction of the building, which means some extra load we are giving, the primary consolidation settlement was recorded as 10 millimeter. So corresponding to a time of 300 days, we are observing a settlement of 10 mm. So what is the final settlement? That is 50 mm. So in between any duration, after some time, according to this question, it is 300 days. We are observing a settlement of 10 millimeter. Okay, now what is the question? The additional time required to achieve 50% of consolidation will be. So what is the meaning of this? I hope you got the concept or the situation what they are giving in the question. The ultimate settlement, I can just put it as SF, that is given as 50 millimeter, right? So given that at a time, let it be some T1 or T2, whatever. Okay, let me put it as a T1, okay? Just a second, yeah. This T1 is 300 days. So corresponding to this 300 days, they told that the settlement at this particular time, I'm just putting it as S corresponds to T1, that is 10 millimeter. Okay, then can you tell me what will be the degree of consolidation at this point of time? Degree of consolidation is nothing but the consolidation at that particular time divided by ultimate settlement, which is given in the question as 50 mm. This is nothing but the degree of consolidation, right? If you want that in percentage, you can multiply with 100, otherwise leave it. We don't require in percentage here. So this is going to be around 20%, right? Okay, yeah, 10 by 50, it's going to be 20%. That's the situation, let it be there. Now what they are asking is, we will be having some another time T2, which we don't know. Let it be that is dash days or let it be T2 days. And the corresponding settlement they have not given, but they told that that percentage is 50%. Means what? Whatever be this settlement corresponds to time T2. If I am taking that settlement value, whatever S T2 value, settlement at a time 2, divided by 50 mm into 100. How much I am going to get? 50%. This is what they have mentioned. We don't have to calculate this, but definitely this is going to be 25 millimeter. Even if they are asking the same question with the data 25 mm, instead of telling that it's 50% consolidation, then also our answer, final answer is going to be exactly same. This is what they have mentioned in some other words, that's it. Okay, now what they are asking is not this particular time. They are asking the time difference between this T1 and T2, right? The additional time required for this particular consolidation. That's what they are asking. So for this, we require an equation which is correlating this degree of consolidation with the time. For that, we are having one equation, right? So what is that equation? This TV is equal to CV into T by D square. Whereas this TV is related to the degree of consolidation. But for this TV, we are having two equations. Hope you know that. One equation, if the degree of consolidation is less than or equal to 60%. Another equation, if the degree of consolidation is greater than 60%. We are having multiple equations for this and this. This one is very simple. This one is a little bit complicated, as you know. So which equation we have to use? Luckily, they have given the situation corresponds to this first category. Okay, so the entire solution has become much simpler. Okay, why I am telling this is first category? Look at here, this is 20%, this is 50%. Less than or equal to 60% or not? Exactly. So for the case less than or equal to 60%, we are having the equation pi by 4 into u square. where U is the degree of consolidation in decimals, not in percentage, which means if it is 20%, we need to substitute 0.2 like that. Okay, so substitute that, and how much you are going to get? I am taking both situations and correlating here. So according to the first one, pi by 4 into 20% it is, so I need to substitute 0.2. Square is equal to CV into how much was T? That was 300 days, right? So 300 divided by D square. But I don't know how much is CV and D square, right? Not required because we are having one more equation. So let's use that also. So pi by 4 into degree of consolidation is 0.5 square is equal to CV into, we don't know the time, T2 divided by D square. So from here, what you are understanding? I'm just rubbing this portion just to write the remaining things. I hope you understood these portions, right? So that you can rub it. Okay. Now look at here. We got two equations. Definitely if I am comparing it, how can I write? I'm just taking this left hand side to the left, whatever there is on the right hand side to the left hand side, so that I can write CV into T2 divided by D square is equal to pi by 4 into 0.5 square. Then I'm having CV into T1. T1 is nothing but 300. Okay, I'm just writing here. 300 by D square is equal to pi by 4 into 0.2 square. Right. So can I just take the, what I can say, the ratio of both? Of course, if I'm just dividing this with this, I'm exactly going to get this by this because they are equal, right? So once I'm dividing it, I'm going to get T2 divided by 300 here, right? Because these things are same. So T2 by 300 is going to be pi by 4 will get cancels. I'm having 0.5 square by 0.2 square. So you just take this 300 here. This T2 will be equal to 0.5 square by 0.2 square into 300. So this T2 we are going to get around 1875 days. But is this our final answer? No. Why? They are asking the additional time, not the time required for 50% consolidation. This is a very important thing. See, if you are not properly reading the question, maybe you will be solving all these things and finally if you are substituting the value 1875, if it is numerical answer type question, you are getting 0. Suppose if it is an MCQ kind of question, definitely this option also they will be putting as the, this value also they will be putting as the option. So you will be getting a valuable, you will be losing a valuable 2 mark and along with that negative mark also. So properly read the question. They are asking the additional time required, which means for 20% consolidation 300 days, for 50% consolidation 1875 days. The additional time will be how much then? This obtained value additional time is equal to this 1875 minus 300, that is the additional time, right? So that comes out to be 1575 days. So this is going to be our final answer for this question, 1575 days. Such a very beautiful question, correlation of multiple concepts, but it's simple actually, okay, because they have given the degree of consolidation comes out to be less than 60%. Otherwise, we know a longer equation we are having, like 1.781 minus that log wala equation. So easily we can calculate this one since the degree of consolidation is less than 50%. Okay, so I hope you got the concept and I hope you are coming to this particular final answer, right? So let's move on to the next question. It was actually an MSQ question, multiple selection question, which means more than one option can be correct, sometimes only one, sometimes more than one. That's the concept of MSQ, you know that. The question is actually related to multiple concepts, not only a single thing. Here they have given a statement related to string gauge limit, which will be the initial portions of geotechnical engineering. Then they have asked regarding some void ratio kind of thing, which you might have studied in the shear strength chapter or consolidation chapters. Then they have given something regarding the SPT test, standard penetration test and all, which will be coming to the last portions of the geotechnical engineering subject, the overburden pressure correction, the latency correction, you know that. Then the final thing is maybe somewhat an out of the box statement. Actually this tomograph is not exactly directly related to soil mechanics, it's somewhat a geology concept and all. but geology is also related to soil, right? So somewhat they have related to this soil mechanics paper also. Let it be. Let's discuss the first three statements, then I will be explaining what is the meaning of this tomograph as well. Okay. The swell potential of soil decreases with an increase in the strain gauge limit. It's a direct result, right? Similarly, you might have studied regarding the compressibility also, right? As the liquid limit increases, compressibility also increases. So such a result you might have studied. Exactly similar to that, this is another important result in soil mechanics. As the swell potential of the soil decreases, okay, with the increase in strain gauge limit, or maybe you might have studied in the other way, as the strain gauge limit increases, swell potential decreases, like that you might have studied. Okay, so the first statement is actually correct, it's a true statement, that's it. Now, both loose and dense sands with different initial void ratios can attain similar void ratios at large strain during shearing. Okay, so this statement you will be studying in the shear strength chapter, I guess, right? So what is that graph that you have studied between void ratio and strain, shearing strain? This is nothing but the shearing strain, and if this is void ratio, then the graph will come like this. Hope we have studied this. We are having two different graphs. Okay, one is going like this and the other one will be going like this with a different void ratio values, right? And this is nothing but the critical void ratio, right or not? And two graphs you are having. One is for the loose sand as well as normally consolidated clay. For both we will be having the same relationship, and this is actually for dense sand. Here in this question they have mentioned that in the case of loose sand and dense sand, suppose if it was given as normally consolidated clay or over consolidated clay, OCC, then also the situation is same. So look at here what is happening. Loose sand and dense sand having different void ratio here. Look at this, different void ratio. At a larger strain, it may be having approximately, or it is merging to a particular void ratio value, which is nothing but we call it as critical void ratio, right? So that is what they have given in the question as well, right? As a statement, both loose and dense sands with different initial void ratios can attain similar void ratios at larger strain during shearing. Yes. If it was given that it was smaller strain values, then it will be a wrong statement. Since it is larger strain, yes, as it move on, as the strain increases, obviously that's merging to a particular value, right? So this second statement is also absolutely true. Okay. Now the third statement is related to SPT, right? So among the several corrections, what is the meaning of these several corrections? We are having only two corrections, right? Simply they told that several, that's it. Apart from this dilatancy correction given in the statement, we are having overburden pressure correction as well, right? But we know that for cohesive soil, the overburden pressure correction is not actually required. But here they have not mentioned anything like that, no? Like cohesive soil like that. If it was mentioned like cohesive soil, then it's okay. Like we are not going to do the overburden pressure correction, and also dilatancy correction will be doing if n is greater than 15 and all, you know the concept. So here they told that the first, the dilatancy correction is applied before all the corrections. No, it's not. That will be done after applying the overburden pressure correction. So it's absolutely wrong. The final thing is somewhat related to tomograph. We don't have to study that in detail, but still, I'll be telling you the concept of tomograph. What generally we used to do, if you are having the soil, we'll be keeping an anode and cathode. That's nothing but the electrodes, which they are mentioning in the question. Okay, and we'll be connecting it and all. It will be having some, current passing between these electrodes, like pressure bulb concept and all you might have studied. No, it's somewhat like that. And actually, this penetration, as you have studied before, that's going to be 2 times the spacing between the electrodes. One will be anode and one will be cathode. And this, whatever be the spacing, if I'm just putting it as S, this penetration, let me just use the symbol D, that will be around 2 times the spacing, which means this D is going to be 2S. Okay, similar to the pressure bulb concept, that's it. But here, and this entire setup is actually called as tomograph. Okay, that electrodes and this power supply, everything will be there definitely. So this setup is actually called as tomograph, but what they have mentioned is that it's the half of the spacing. No, it's wrong. It will be double of the spacing. Understood or not? So if you are talking about 50% of the current, then it's going to be equal to the spacing, something like that. Okay, so however that statement is wrong. Okay, so that's it. So this is wrong. So option A is the correct statement and statement B is the correct statement. So both you need to click, then only you will be getting the mark. Okay, there is no partial marking for MSQ kind of questions, as you know. Okay, now move on to the next question. So this question is actually from the foundation engineering chapter. They have given that there is a strip footing having 2 meter width and it's at a depth of 1.5 meter below the ground level. Okay. Now there is an important keyword here, nothing but pure clay. It's actually pure clay body and all, let it be pure clay. Okay. Now the clay bed has a unit coefficient, C values given, whatever, let it be. Finally, what they are asking is the net ultimate bearing capacity of the footing as per Tersaghi's theory. See, you might have already studied this concept in class, very, very important for pure clay soil. What is that? Before going into net ultimate, the net bearing capacity, we should be having the concept of what is the meaning of ultimate bearing capacity, right? So from the ultimate capacity, if you are minusing that gamma D value, you are going to get the net ultimate value. So one by one I will be explaining. This is the equation for strip footing, right? This definitely you need to by heart. For different shapes, we are having different equations. If it was square, if it was circular, some slight modifications will come in the equation, right? So this is the equation for the strip footing given by Tersaghi. So in this, what they told that the soil is the pure clay soil. So for pure clay soil, we know there will be some fixed value for this NC, NQ and N gamma, which are nothing but the bearing capacity factors. For clay, what is the value of NC? That's what I have already typed here. For clay, pure coarse soil, NC will be 5.7, that's a fixed value. And NQ is equal to 1 and N gamma equal to 0. Which means what? In this particular equation, this complete third term will become 0 because N gamma is 0. Whatever be the value of the unit weight, gamma, or whatever be the width of the footing, B, we don't care because once N gamma becomes 0, the entire third part will be 0. Now NQ is equal to 1. So which term will be getting affected? This second term, right? So if this NQ is equal to 1, then this equation will be simplified like this, right? CNC plus gamma D or gamma DF, that's it. DF means D suffix F, okay? It's the depth of the footing. Okay, so in this, we require the net ultimate bearing capacity. So how to calculate the net ultimate bearing capacity? The net ultimate, just a second. The net ultimate bearing capacity, QNU, like that I am putting. This is nothing but the ultimate bearing capacity minus gamma D. So this value we are having CNC plus gamma D. So if I am minusing a gamma D from that, we are going to get CNC, right? And that is nothing but, NC is nothing but 5.7. So we are going to get C into 5.7 or 5.7 into C. So this is what I have written here. Okay, QNU equal to 5.7 C. What is the meaning of this? For a pure cohesive clay or pure cohesive soil, which is nothing but pure clay, the net ultimate bearing capacity will be equal to 5.7 C, which means it's independent on the dimensions of the strip footing. Dimensions in the sense D and B, because here we don't have the term B and D ultimately. In the ultimate bearing capacity we are having, in the net bearing capacity we don't have that. It depends only on the value of the cohesion of the given clay. That's it. Okay, so going back to the question, which option will be correct? Remains same, right? Because it is independent on the dimension. So option C will be the final answer. Getting? That's it. Going to the next question, it's somewhat related to the physical weathering and chemical weathering, origin of soil, right? A simple direct question it is. The statement P, the first statement is like this: the soil particles formed by mechanical weathering and close to their origin are generally sub-rounded. We know in mechanical weathering, we'll be having sand kind of particles, right? So obviously it's sub-rounded. The first statement is true. The activity of the clay physically signifies its swell potential. Obviously, we know what is activity. Activity is nothing but the plasticity index by the percentage clay fraction. And as the activity value increases, obviously the swelling also will be increasing. You might have already studied regarding the bentonite clay, Montmorillonite presence and all, right? Why it's happening? Because of the swelling property, it will be showing due to the presence of the Montmorillonite mineral. Obviously, the activity is very high, right? More than 1.25, close to 7 and all it may be coming. So, obviously, both statements are true here. Okay. So, which option I need to select? According to my options. So, both P and Q are true. Option B will be the final answer. Simple. Okay. It was a direct theory question. Now, moving to the next question, another numerical question. An embankment is constructed with the soil by maintaining the degree of saturation as 75% during compaction. So 75% degree of saturation they have given, and also the specific gravity of the soil is given. The moisture 70%, which means moisture content, okay, water content or moisture content, both are same. Now the gamma W, which is nothing but the unit weight of water. This is an important point which I told you in the previous question. If this value was not given in the question, then we need to take 9.81. Since it's given, you have to take only 10. If you are taking 9.81, you may be getting some other value which may be going out of the range sometimes. Okay. So what we need to calculate is the value of dry density. Okay. I will solve it here. So we know the equation of dry density, right? Gamma D is equal to gamma W into G divided by 1 plus E. This is the equation. So from where we are getting it? Gamma W into actual equation is G plus ES, right? Or degree of saturation is S divided by 1 plus E. This is the actual equation. In this dry case, means degree of saturation is 0. So this portion, this ES portion will become 0. We are going to get gamma W into G divided by 1 plus E. That's it. In this, gamma W is directly given as 10. G is given as 2.68 divided by 1 plus this E, that is the unknown. So how to calculate that E? That's why they have given the remaining data. So this is also another beautiful question in which they have correlated. They have tried to combine two different concepts of soil mechanics. Okay, so how to calculate this E? To calculate E, we are having lots of equations, right? Lots and lots of equations. According to this particular given data, which equation we will be using? E is equal to Wg divided by S, right? You might have studied in some other way, like ES equal to Wg, something like that. Whatever. Finally, we will be getting Wg by S. W is what they have given as water content 0.17, 17% it is, into G, we have already considered in the previous equation also 2.68, by degree of saturation 75%, so 0.75. So once you are doing this, you are going to get a value of the void ratio E as 0.6075, right? 60746 it will be. You can take 6075, no issue. Okay, it's somewhat very close. Already, if you are taking 4 decimals, that would be sufficient. But let me take more accurate value. So just substitute this E back to this gamma D equation. Once you are solving it, you are going to get around 16.67 kilonewton per meter cube. Okay, they are also asking the value in kilonewton per meter cube only. Kilonewton per meter cube. So 16.67. Suppose if you have to substitute the value in integer, then 16 or 17 you can substitute. Both will be given the mark. No issue. Okay, so that's it. A very beautiful question. Moving on to the next question. Is related to the retaining wall concept. And finally, what they are asking is the angle, right? The inclination of failure planes with respect to the major principal plane. That's what they are asking. In both cases, they are asking, right? Yes. In the options also, they have given 2 angles. One is for active and the other one is for passive cases. See, whether it is active or passive, they are asking the angle between the failure plane and the major principal plane, right? This you might have already studied in the classes, which means, let me take 2 cases. One is the active case and the other one is passive case. Suppose if this is the failure plane going like this, if it is active case, then we know the wall will be moving away from the backfill, right? So here the major principal plane will be here, right? This is nothing but the major principal plane, right? So with the respect to the major principal plane, we know it's always that angle will be 45 plus 5 by 2. That's it. What about passive case? In passive case, with respect to major principal stress, major principal axis or plane, it will be 45 plus 5 by 2. But here, which is the major principal plane? That will be this, because the wall is moves towards the backfill in case of passive earth pressure. So this is going to be 45 plus 5 by 2. Now you see, suppose if you don't know which is major principal plane and which is minor principal plane, is there any issue here? No issue, because they are not asking you the question with respect to horizontal or vertical like that. They are simply asking with respect to major principal plane. That's it. So here in the question, what they have given for the value of phi, the angle of internal friction is 30 degree, right? So if the phi value, if it is 30 degree, the phi value is 30 degree. So this value is going to be how much? 45 plus 30 by 2, which is nothing but 15. So totally it's going to be 60 degree. Similarly, this one, this is also 45 plus 30 by 2. This is also going to be 60 degree. Suppose if the question was like with respect to horizontal how much, then this will be 60, this will be 30. Suppose if the question was with respect to vertical, this will become 30 and this will become 60. But here what they are asking is with respect to the major principal plane. So in both case it's going to be 60 and 60. So which option will be correct? Option D will be the final answer. So these are the questions came from geotechnical engineering subjects. The questions were somewhat moderate, right? If you have prepared it very well, then definitely I hope you might have already got all the answers clearly. They have not asked any tough questions in this set. So I hope you have cleared it all. So thank you.
Okay, now let's discuss the questions from the mechanical solvers in the Forenoon session. Okay, there are 3 questions that has been asked. Okay, so in this, the first question is from the torsion. Okay, so the question is like this. There are 2 shafts that are shown in figure are fixed at ends. The torsion T is applied at the junction and given that Tp by Tr ratio is 4 and as well as J1 divided by J2 ratio is 2 and they have asked for the ratio of L1 by L2. J means polar moment of inertia. So simply applying torsion equation we can find the solution for this. Okay, so what actually is torsion equation? You all know, right? The equation is like this. T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to G theta by L. Okay. When we analyze this figure, we can say that the value of theta on both the members will be same. Okay, that means theta 1 is equal to theta 2. So from this equation, we can write theta like this: TL divided by Gj. So this is our theta. So both the members, the theta value is same. That is theta 1 is equal to theta 2. So when we write theta 1 is equal to theta 2, which means T1 L1 divided by G1 J1 is equal to T2 L2 divided by G2 J2. In the question, both the members are having same G value. So which means G1 is equal to G2. We can both strike off G from both the sides, which means the G get cut off. The T1 value is given us Tp and the T2 value is given us Tr. So we substitute that too. So we can rearrange this equation like this. Tp L1 by J1 is equal to Tr L2 by J2. And they have asked the ratio of L1 by L2. We know that the Tp by Tr ratio is 4 and the J1 by J2 ratio is 2. So L1 by L2 we can rearrange like this. So L1 by L2 we will get, it is J1 by J2 into Tr by Tp. Okay, so the J1 by J2 ratio is 2. J1 by J2 ratio is 2 and Tp by Tr ratio is 4. So Tr by Tp will be 1 by 4, right? So when you substitute these values, we will get like 2 divided by 4, and your answer will be 1 by 2. Okay, if it was asked in fraction, or you can write it 1 by 2, or if they have asked for decimals, you can give us 0.5. So the answer is either 1 by 2 or 0.5. Okay, so let's move to the next question. The next question is the match the following question. You are having 4 different loading conditions and the corresponding Mohr circle is given in the list 2. You have to match P, Q, R, S with the 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so now let's solve this. So P is the case of a tensile load. The tensile load or the normal stress, we normally take the normal stress as positive value. So the corresponding Mohr circle will be a positive one. Okay, when we look into Q, it is a compressive stress. Normal stress is compressive, which means the Mohr circle will be on the negative side. That makes Q to 2. Now the R will be given us, both are in compressive stresses, both in X and Y direction, which is the case of a hydrostatic pressure or a hydrostatic loading case. Which means for a hydrostatic loading, the Mohr circle reduces to a point. That makes R combined with 1. Okay, and the fourth case is only the case of pure shear, which means there is only shear stress. In the case of shear stress, or only in case of shear only, there is no normal stress, our Mohr circle will be with the center as origin. So that makes S to 3. This is a very simple question, only a basic question. If you know all the concept, you can easily score 1 mark or 2 mark depending on the numerical. Okay, so this is the question from the stress on inclined planes. You can easily apply the concept and you can solve it. Okay, now let's move on to the last question from the mechanics of solids. It is again a easy question that is directly asked from the stress on inclined plane in case of a 3D. The question is like this: the sigma, the normal stress is given as 10, 0, 0, 0, 40, 0, 0, 0, 0. They have asked for the maximum shear stress at the point, and you are given 4 options: 15, 5, 20 and 30. Okay, so the stress tensor in 3D case is written like this: sigma is equal to sigma xx, tau xy, tau xz, tau yx, sigma yy, tau yz, tau zx, tau zy and sigma zz. Okay, so which means sigma values are the corresponding normal stress values and all other values are the corresponding shear stress value. When we compare these two matrices, all the shear stresses, you see, all the shear stresses are 0. That makes, sorry, this is not 0. That makes the major stresses as principal stresses, which means the 10, 40 and 0 are our major or the corresponding principal stresses. 40 will be our major value, 10 will be our intermediate value and 0 will be our minor stress. Or the maximum is 40, the intermediate value is 10 and the minimum value is 0, which means there is no shear stress. That makes the 10, 40 and 0 as our principal stresses. So once we know the value of principal stresses, we can easily find the maximum shear stress. That is, if we know the value of principal stress, the tau max is simply given as the difference between the maximum principal stress and the minimum principal stress. So here sigma 1 is taken as a higher value, so it is the 40 value. Sigma 2 will be our intermediate value, it is the 10, and sigma 3 will be our minimum value, which is 0. So it is a difference between maximum and minimum. So that makes 40 minus 0 by, sorry, sigma max minus sigma minimum by 2 is there. So that makes 40 minus 0 divided by 2 and your answer will be 20 megapascal. Very simple question. Even it is in 3D, the answer is very simple. Okay, so these are 3 questions from mechanics of solids. Thank you.
Hi friends, let's discuss the questions from RCC subject now. Here is the first question. They have given that there is a slab having an effective depth of 250 millimeters reinforced with 0.2% of main reinforcement using 8 mm diameter. And finally they are asking the spacing between this given reinforcement bar. So we know that the spacing equation is nothing but, see, whenever they don't give the width of the member, we assume the value 1000. But we know that even if they are giving some value, they will be giving 1000 only for calculating the spacing, right? So 1000 into 250, this will be the dimensions of the slab, right? 250 effective depth. And if this is the dimension, they told that the area of the reinforcement is 0.2%, right? So if I am multiplying with 0.2%, which means 0.2 by 100 into the given dimension. So this is nothing but the area of the steel, whatever. Now once you are getting the total area requirement, the area of a single reinforcement bar will be how much? If the diameter is 8 millimeter, the area of a single reinforcement bar will be pi by 4 into 5 square, the diameter square, nothing but 8 square. So if you are having both these values, easily we can find out the spacing. How much? The spacing is going to be 1000 divided by the total area of steel calculated initially, divided by the area of the single reinforcement bar. Okay, you might have studied in some different way that this AST we can put it on the top also. So 1000 small AST by capital AST, like that also you can write. So which means 1000 divided by, what is this AST? 0. It's 0.2 percentage, right? So 0.002 it is, right? This is what is 0.2 percentage into 1000 into 500, sorry, not 500, 250, sorry. This is 250. No need to calculate that capital AST separately. No, let's put it there. Now this divide by small AST will go to the numerator. How much is small AST? That is pi by 4 into 8 square. Right or not? So just calculate it. That 4 also will come to the numerator. Once you are doing this, you are going to get around 100.5 millimeter. Okay, but before finalizing the answer, we also have to check that this value when you are calculating, we need to check how much is 3 into D. We also have to compare with the 300 mm. So D is how much here? 250. So 3 into 250 means it's going to be 750. Right? So the maximum spacing will be the minimum of all these three values. Generally this first will be coming as minimum, but always we need to check it. Okay, even if you are forgetting to check in this context, luckily you will be getting the correct answer only, since the other two values are however greater than this 100.5. Okay, so we need to round off to the integer. It's the maximum spacing, which means technically speaking you should not be rounding off to the next integer. Okay, because maximum it can be 100.5, which means what? It should not be 101, right? It should be 100 only. Okay, so technically it should be 100 mm. Got it? But even if you are substituting 101, maybe you will be getting the mark, but ideally you should be rounding off to the lower integer. Got it? That's it. Moving on to the next question, it's related to beam, which is nothing but a doubly reinforced beam. So if you're having a balanced section and if you want to make it under reinforced, what to do? We know in the design, we prefer under reinforced sections only because that is safe, right? Balanced section means it's like critical, and over reinforced section will be unsafe. So always we'll go for under reinforced section. And to do that, what to do? We know the meaning of under reinforced section means the area of steel should be less than the area of concrete, or we can say the steel will be reaching its permissible limits before the concrete is reaching its permissible limit, right? So that's a safety condition, so that before failure we'll be getting a warning. So to do that, in case of a doubly reinforced section, which means we'll be having a compression steel also in the compression zone. In singly reinforced beam, we'll be having only tension reinforcement, right? So depends on the given condition, the answers will change. Here they have mentioned that it's a doubly balanced reinforced, means doubly reinforced section, that's it. Which means compression steel also will be there. So to make it under reinforced section, what all things we can do? As I told you, the area of steel should be comparatively lesser compared to compression steel or compression, right? So what you can do? Decrease the area of tension reinforcement, that's it. This is what we are doing in the singly reinforced beam. But they have mentioned that it's a doubly, so what all things, what extra thing we can do? We can also increase the area of compression reinforcement, which will be provided in the compression zone above neutral axis. Then also that will be increasing. So when you are comparing with the tension side and compression side will be comparatively lesser area, right? So both this B and C will be final answer. So this is actually an MSQ question. More than one options can be correct kind of question. So B and C will be the correct statements in this particular question. Got it? So moving on to the next question. For a concrete having characteristic strength as 30 megapascal, the 28th day's compressive strength is nothing but the characteristic strength, which is given as 30 megapascal. If 40 specimens are tested, then how many specimens should have at least a strength of 30 megapascal? So if you know the definition of this characteristic strength, you'll be easily getting the mark. So what is the definition of characteristic strength? It is actually the strength above which 95% of the test results will be coming, or I can say less than 5% or not more than 5%, like in many ways we used to define, no? So this portion will be 5% and this portion will be 95%, and this value is what we are taking as characteristic strength. And if this is mean strength, this mean strength minus 1.64 sigma, like that only we used to calculate this FCK and all, we know that the concept. Now which means what? 95% of the cubes will be having a strength value greater than this FCK. According to the question, it is 30 megapascal. Okay, they can also give it as like M30, right? M30 is nothing but the concrete grade having the 28th day's compressive strength as 30 megapascal. Same, okay? So 95% of total number. What is the total number? 40. So 95% of total number is 40, which means that will be around 38 numbers, right? So out of the total 40 cubes, 38 cubes will be having a value greater than 30 megapascal, and 5%, which means that will be 2, right? 2 cubes will be having a value less than 30 megapascal, right? So this is the final answer. 38 will be our final answer. Direct question. If you know the definition, easily you are going to get it. Okay, now the next question given below is a cantilever beam. Okay, so this is a beam and they have told that we are keeping some supports, right? In RCC, you know that those supports are called as props. That's what given in the question. You should not be getting any confusion from this word. The props indicates the support that we are given to the concrete, right? You know that in day-to-day life you might have already seen. Now what they are asking is the order in which the props are to be removed. Okay, so it's a cantilever, right? And we know that if you're having a cantilever, the tension will be coming on the top side, right? A cantilever, if you are applying a load, it will be bending like this, no? So tensile reinforcement will be given on the top side. So while removing the props as well, it should be in the form of a cantilever. Otherwise what will happen? Suppose if you are taking P, Q, R and all, it will be acting as a simply supported beam, right? So for a simply supported beam, the tension will come on the bottom. So we need to apply we need to place the reinforcement on the bottom side. Otherwise it will fail, right or not? So it should be always maintained as a cantilever, then only the provided steel reinforcement. Obviously the steel reinforcement might have provided here, right? There is the tension zone. Okay, the development length anchorage and all will be there. I'm just showing the position, that's it. So while removing, this shape should be in the form of a cantilever only, even if when you're removing the props, which means what? I can remove this S first, then also it is going to be like a cantilever. Then I can remove R, right? Then before Q, if I am removing P, then will it be like a cantilever? No, because in between there will be a support, right? We should not be doing that. Then what to do? Then you remove Q, then you remove P, that's it. Suppose if there was one more prop, then what to do? In that order we need to do it. Suppose 5 or 6, whatever, from the right side to the left side, you need to do it. It's not like left to right, since the cantilever projection is towards the right side, I'm telling right from left. Got it? So S first, then Q, then R, then Q, then P. So which option it will be? S, R, Q, P, option A will be the final answer. Okay, so hope you got it. These are the questions came from RCC subject. Hope you understood the concepts. Thanks so much.
Hello friends, let's discuss the question from GATE 2024 surveying. Actually these questions are very simple. We have to discuss the 4 questions from surveying. Let's move to first question. The difference in sum of interior angles of 2 closed towers is with the 3 and 4 sides are. We need to find the difference in between interior angles of polygon with the 3 sides and 4 sides. We know that formula 2n minus 4 into 90 is the sum of interior angles of a polygon. Then we can assume a polygon is 3-sided polygon is triangle and 4-sided polygon is rectangle. Let's draw this diagram. This is a rectangle. We have the 4 sides. 2n minus 4. 2n minus 4 into 90 is the sum of interior angles. We need to substitute the value of n. After solving this question, we got 360 degree. After, we need to draw the three-sided polygon triangle. Afterwards, we need to calculate the difference between them. 360 minus 180 equal to 180. Our answer is 180 degree. Okay, let's move to second question. The contour map is prepared with a scale of 1 in 1000 and a contour interval of 1 meter. If the points between two adjacent contour lines are 10 mm apart, the gradient between them is 1 in dash. They have given contour lines are 10 mm apart. That means these two contour lines are separated by a distance 10 mm. We know that to find the gradient formula, the contour interval by horizontal equivalent is the gradient. The horizontal distance between the points on a map is 10 mm. The horizontal distance between the points on a ground is map distance by scale. The 10 mm divided by 1 in 1000, which is equal to 10 mm into 1000, which gives 10,000 mm. That is equal to 10 meter. In our gradient is contour interval divided by horizontal equivalent, which is equal to 1 meter by 10 meter, which is equal to 1 by 10. This is our answer. Let's move to next question. The zenith angle is measured by a transit theodolite is 93 degree. The corresponding traditional vertical is. The zenith angle is measured from top, whereas the traditional angle is measured as a horizontal. Check this diagram. This is the zenith angle diagram. This is the traditional vertical circle diagram. We are drawing in our value 93 degree from transit theodolite. If we draw a cross, then we need to draw that line 93 degree. This is a 93 degree angle. In zenith angle, the corresponding angle is drawn to the traditional vertical circle is degree, because here we are measuring the angle from horizontal to vertical. Here we are measuring to top to down clockwise direction. Here also in a clockwise direction, but it is measured from horizontal to vertical. Then traditional vertical circle angle is minus 3 degree, because here is minus 90 degree, here is positive 90 degree. Then the angle is minus 3 degree. Now our answer is the zenith angle is measured 93 degree, the traditional vertical angle is minus 3 degree. Let's move to next question. A bird is resting on a point P at a height of 8 meter above the mean sea level. Upon hearing a loud noise, the bird flies parallel to the ground surface and reaches a point Q, which is located at the height of 3 meter above the MSL. The ground surface has falling gradient of 1 in 2, ignoring the effects of curvature and refraction. The horizontal distance in meters between the point P and Q is. Here we need to draw that diagram. This is the mean sea level. The height from P to mean sea level is 8 meter. Height from Q to mean sea level is 3 meter. In our gradient is, falling gradient is 1 in 2. We know that formula slope. Slope is equal to level difference divided by horizontal distance. In our slope is 1 in 2, which is equal to level difference 8 meter minus 3 meter. Then divided by horizontal distance. We can easily find this horizontal distance. Horizontal distance is equal to 2 into 8 minus 3, 5, which is equal to 10 meter. This is our answer. Friends, let's move to next subject, structural analysis. Let's go to first question. If the axial deformation in a member are neglected, then the degree of freedom of a plane frame shown in below. Actually, we need to find the kinematic indeterminacy. This is a portal frame having braced member. These braced members will avoid the sway. This structure cannot move right side or left side. Then we can check. This is a fixed joint. The kinematic indeterminacy is 0. Here the static indeterminacy is 3. Then kinematic indeterminacy is 0. In this joint, the kinematic indeterminacy at B is dk is equal to 1. From here 0, here 1. Here is only rotation is possible. From C, dk is equal to 1. Here also rotation only possible. From D, dk is equal to 1. Here also rotation only possible. At G, a displacement and rotation is possible. Therefore, dk is equal to 2. Here, dk is equal to 1 because there is only one rotation is possible. At this point, dk is equal to 1. From here, one rotation and displacement is possible. 2 rotations are possible. Therefore, dk is equal to 2. At this point, dk is equal to 4 because 4 rotations are possible. At last, we can conclude that at A, dk is equal to 0, B 1, C 1, D 1, then 2, 1, 1, 2, 4. The sum of these degree of freedom, we get 13 answer. In our answer is 13. Let's move to next question. Find the vertical reaction at L, BL. These are the reaction from this figure. VL, HL and HK, VA and RA. Here, VL, we are taking the method of section to find the VL. We are cutting here and need to take the moment at J. The VL and HK do not form any moment at J. HL only will develop the moment at J. For balancing the right side of the structure, we are taking the moment of J. Here also, we are considering the left side also. Then, we need to take that moment at C. Then only we can easily find the value of VL. Here, the vertical reaction is forming the clockwise moment. Here, this horizontal reaction forming the anti-clockwise moment. Hence, the moment is 0. Here, this reaction is on the line of action of this AC line. That's why here also 0. Hence, HA equal to VA. We can easily find out the value at the moment at C is equal to 0. Then, easily find VL. Let's check this. By using the method of section, moment at J is equal to 0, balancing the right part of the structure. VL and HK not develop the moment at J, only HL will develop the moment at J. Moment at C is equal to 0, balance in the left part of the structure. VA and HA develop the moment at C. HA is equal to VA, moment at C is equal to 0. We are taking the moment at C is equal to 0. We can found VL. Here 10 into 3 minus VL into 4. Here this distance is 1 meter. This is 2 meter. This is 1 meter. Hence, VL into 4 plus 10 into 3. 2 plus 3, which is equal to 3. VL into 4 plus 10 into 3 is equal to 0. VL is equal to 30 divided by 4, which is equal to 7.5. This is our answer. Let's move to next question. What will be the value of vertical reaction at A, B and C? Actually, we need to find reaction A, RA, RB and RC. Here, RA, RB, RC is shown in this figure. We need to consider at this point the moment at P is taken. We need to check the moment at the left side, right side and upward reactions is equal to downward reaction. We can easily form three equations. RA into L is equal to QL into L by 2. That is, left side is considering RA into L, which is equal to QL into L by 2. This is our equation number 1. We can easily find the value RA from this equation. Next, we are considering the right part of the structure. Then RC into 2L minus RC into 2L plus minus RB into L plus QL into L by 2, which is equal to 0. This is our second equation. RA plus RB plus RC equal to Q into 2L. RA plus RB plus RC, that is upward reaction equal to downward reaction Q into 2L. This is our equation number 4. We can solving these three equations easily found the value of RA, RB and RC. The correct answer is RA is equal to QL by 2, RB is equal to 2.5 QL, RC is equal to minus QL. Here we are concluding this section. Thank you all.
Hello friends, let's move on to the engineering mathematics session. This year around 7 questions were from engineering mathematics. The first question is from the matrix. So we have been given a matrix and we need to find out the eigenvalues of this matrix. Already in option 3 eigenvalues are given. There is no need for us to solve this question. Using the properties of the eigenvalues, we will be able to find out the answer from the option itself. Let's use the additive property of the eigenvalues. That is, if lambda 1, lambda 2 and lambda 3 are the eigenvalues of a matrix, then lambda 1 plus lambda 2 plus lambda 3 is equal to the trace of that particular matrix. Let's move on to the matrix. From this, the sum of the diagonal elements, which is known as the trace of the matrix, is equal to 2 plus 4 plus 2, which is equal to 8. So now let's move on to the option. From the option, we are able to find out that in option A, the sum of the values are 4 plus 3 plus 1, which is equal to 8. And option C, the sum of the values are 5 plus 2 plus 1, which is equal to 8. So now we have two options, option A and option C. While checking out the sum of the values of option B and option D, it doesn't satisfy the criteria, so we will be able to cancel out these two options. Now we are able to eliminate those two options, and then let's move on to the next property, that is the additive property, that is lambda 1 into lambda 2 into lambda 3 is equal to determinant of A. By finding out the determinant, we will obtain the value as 10. So let's move on to these values, that is option A and option C. 1 into 3 into 4, that is option A, will not satisfy the criteria. So we will be able to eliminate option A. Next, move on to the option C. 1 into 2 into 5 is equal to 10. So thus the answer is option C. The next question is from the vector calculus, that is a vector field P is given. P is equal to 2x square minus 3xy plus z square into I cap plus 2y square minus 3y square plus x square into j cap plus 2z square minus 3xz plus x square into k cap. And a scalar field R is also given. The R is equal to 6x square plus 4y square minus z square minus 9xyz minus 2xy plus 3xz minus yz. So based on these values, two statements are given. That is statement P and Q. The statement P is that the curl of the gradient of a scalar field R is a null vector. Yes, it is true because it is a property. And the next statement is Q. Q is the divergence of curl of the vector field P is 0. That is also correct. So we know that both P and Q are correct. Right. So the correct answer is option B, that is both P and Q are true. So let's move on to the next question. Next question is from the numerical methods. Here different values of x is given and the corresponding values of f of x is also given. The value of x is 1, 2, 3 and the corresponding value of f of x is 0, 0.3010 and 0.4771. And what we need to find out is the value of f of 1.5 using the Newton's second order interpolation function. So for the easier calculation, let's make it into a tabular form. Here the values of x is listed, that is 1, 2 and 3, and the corresponding value of f of x is listed, which is 0, 0.3010 and 0.4771. And first order difference, first we need to find out the first order difference, which is basically y1 minus y0 divided by x1 minus x0, that is 0.3010 minus 0 divided by 2 minus 1, which is 0.3010 itself. 0.3010 divided by 2 minus 1, which is equal to 0.3010 itself. Now let's move on to the next difference, that is 0.4771 minus 0.3010 divided by 3 minus 2. By simplifying, we will get the answer as 0.1761. Next, we need to move on to the second difference. Second difference is basically the difference of 0.1761 minus 0.3010 divided by 3 minus 1. That is 0.1761 minus 0.3010 divided by 3 minus 1, which is a negative value, that is minus 0.1249 divided by 2. Next, what we need to do is, we need to substitute this value into this equation and also put x as 1.5, that is f of 1.5. I am not going into the calculation in detail. The final answer which we will obtain is 0.1661. So let's move on to the next question. So the next question is, we have been given a function f of x. The f of x is equal to x raised to 5 minus 5x raised to 4 minus 10x cube plus 50x squared plus 9x minus 45 is equal to 0. And we need to find out the smallest positive root of this function. So while checking the option, we can see that limits are being given and we need to find out in which limit does the smallest positive root of this function lies. Instead of solving and finding out the root, we can adopt the back substitution method where we will be substituting the upper and lower limit of these values of x in the f of x and find out whether it satisfies the condition. From this, the option B has the smallest upper and lower limit value. So first we can check the option B, and if it doesn't satisfy the condition, then let's move on to the option A and C and adopt the trial and error method. So in option B, it is given that 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2. So f of 0 is equal to, that is basically replacing the value of x with 0, we will obtain the value as minus 45, which is less than 0. Next, we can find out the value of f of 2. So, by substituting x as 2, we will obtain the value as 45, which is greater than 0. So, we can easily say that there will be a root for this function f of x in between the limits 0 and 2. So, it basically satisfies the condition, then the answer is option B. The next question is from the probability. We have been given two subjects, that is mathematics and English, and the probability of passing mathematics is given as 1 by 3 and the probability of passing English is given as 4 by 9. So, let the probability of passing mathematics be P of A, which is equal to 1 by 3, and the probability of passing English be P of B, which is equal to 4 by 9. Then the probability of passing both the subject, which is basically P of A intersection B. This is equal to 1 by 6. What we need to find out is, what is the probability that a student is passing at least one subject, which is basically P of A union B. This is a very simple equation. We can solve this also using the Venn diagram. We know that P of A union B is equal to P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. That is equal to 1 by 3 plus 4 by 9 minus 1 by 6. This question is from the partial differential equation. The equation is dou square u by dou x square is equal to 2. From this, we need to find out the value of u. Since it is a second order partial differential equation, we need to integrate it twice to find out the value of u. For integrating on both sides, we will obtain dou square u by dou x square is equal to 2x plus f of y. This f of y will be a function with y as variable, and since it is a partial differential equation, on integrating we will obtain an additional term as f of y. Next, we will be integrating this on both sides. Then we will obtain the value as u is equal to, the 2x will become, in the integral of 2x is 2 into x square by 2 plus f of y will become x into f of y, x into f of y plus another function will also come. We'll put it as g of y. So, we'll cancel this 2 and we'll obtain the value of u as x square plus x into f of y plus g of y. So, from the option D is the correct answer. This is a very simple question. Now, let's move on to the next question. So, the next question is from the partial differential equation. We have a second order linear partial differential equation, x into dou square u by dou x square plus y into dou square u by dou y square is equal to x plus y by 2 the whole square. What we need to find out is the type of this partial differential equation, whether it is hyperbolic, parabolic or elliptic. For that, let's compare the given partial differential equation with that of the general equation. The second order general partial differential equation is A into uxx. Uxx is dou square u by dou x square plus B into uxy. Uxy is dou square u by dou x dou y plus C into uyy, that is dou square u by dou y square plus etc. is equal to f of x comma y. The condition for whether the equation is hyperbolic, parabolic or elliptical is b square minus 4ac. We need to find out the term b square minus 4ac. The value of the b square minus 4ac determines the type. From this equation, by comparing this general equation with the given equation, we are able to find out that here a is equal to x, b is equal to 0 and z is equal to y. because here there is no term containing dou square u by dou x dou y. So b is equal to 0. From this, let's find out b square minus 4ac value. We already know that if b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, then it is hyperbolic. If it is equal to 0, then it is parabolic. If it is less than 0, then it is elliptic. Here b square minus 4ac is equal to, b square is 0, that is 0 minus 4xy. So what we have is 0 minus 4xy is equal to minus 4xy. So from this we can understand that we are able to cancel out both option A and option B, because the b square minus 4ac value is less than 0. Next we have two conditions, that is if it is elliptical when x and y is greater than 0, that is if x and y is positive, then whether it is elliptical. We already know that b square minus 4ac is equal to minus 4xy. So if x and y is positive, then it is equal to minus 4xy itself. And if it is x is equal to 0 and y is greater than 0, then this term will become 0. So we will not be able to choose this as the right answer. So the right answer is option C. This is a very simple question. By this, we have come to the end of this session. We really hope this session is helpful to you. All these questions are memory based. So if we missed out on any, please do comment below. The GATE 2024 results will be out on March 16th, and let's hope for the best. Civilianz has started our admissions for GATE 2025. We are offering classes in both online and offline mode. For knowing more details about this, please do contact 8281 003366. Learn from the best.